How many of you noticed a huge change from where you start your exercises to the energy where you finish them?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. How many of you noticed a huge change from vocalizing till after you physicalized?
Yeah.
When you're doing the vocal exercises, it's one energy level, and then once we put the physical into it. Okay. That energy that you're feeling right now is you're ready to work in. If you do that before you do your auditions, you're gonna do better auditions. You are more present in the room. It's an energy thing. I did an audition today. I'm still not sure what the fuck happened in it totally. I think it was certainly not up to my expectations. But I think it was serviceable. I'm not sure. But one thing that you know, and I've done it and done it and done it, is I was just so conscious of the nervous energy that was going through me. I've been doing this a while, you know. It's really interesting. Anyway, we are physical beings, and that's that. So I feel really bad for all of you Canadians who like Oreos or Chips Ahoy, because you've never had one. See what this motherfucker says?
Is that Christy?
That's Christy.
Yeah.
That means I don't know shit about Oreos, but I paid to have the name, and what they make, this is a travesty. If you've ever had a real Oreo, you will be so pissed off at this company. I'm serious. This is, now we all know that Oreos are bad for you, right? Which is one of the reasons they're really good. Same with Chips Ahoy. But there's one thing about being bad for you. That you might as well just, you know, paint chocolate on your lips and then just get a bowl of sugar and eat it, as to have one of those. They're awful. And if you take the taste test, one of the days you go down to Blaine or Bellingham or where anyway, and buy a bag of Oreos and just take one from the, and I'm telling you, it was like a week before I kept saying to Brett, these taste funny, right? And then I looked on the bag and I went, mother, you know.
No beef fat?
Well, I don't care what Oreo puts in it. It could be rat shit, but it tastes great. These are horrible. And it's so frustrating because I go down the aisle, I see a bag of Oreos and I go, you know, and I want some, you know. But I'm not gonna drive down to the border to get them. Anyway, that's my take on that. So we all watched the Oscars this last week. No, you didn't watch them?
I don't have cable.
You don't have cable? Sort of, you watched? You were at work. Anybody else? Do you watch them? No? You watch them?
Some clips.
You watch them?
No.
No.
Okay.
Are you interested in any?
Well, I read up who won,
Okay.
and I mean, I had seen most of his films, so.
One of the things that was really interesting is that people were making such a big deal about there not being any MC, and of course things have become so hot politically that nobody wants to take the chance to ruin their career. And my son, it's a big deal for him, so he said, Dad, I want to come over, we're gonna record the Oscars and we'll watch them together. I went, oh, yeah, great. And I told him, okay, oh, they're gonna be, and I said, they're gonna be fantastic. Wow, why do you mean? I said, you don't fuck with Hollywood. This is their night. Trust me on this. So what do they start with? I'm telling you, the hair on the back of my neck is starting to stand straight up. Fucking Queen is on stage with this new lead singer. I have no idea who the guy is. Huh?
Adam Lambert.
Who is he?
Yeah,
He was
one of
American
those.
Idol.
Okay, well he killed it. And it was, we will rock you. And then they did, you know, Bohemian Rhapsody. The fucking energy in that play, they blew the roof off. The entire audience was standing on their feet clapping. That was the opening. And it just took off from there. And what they did, they didn't have this lame host up there trying to do bits. They had real stars. That's what the Academy Awards is. You want to see the stars. You want to see the heavies up there, right? This is the night for America to see. At least that was the genesis of it, right? And then it's become all political and everything, but I mean, and there were some political statements made, and that's fine, I don't mind. I mean, there was the year the streaker came, and there's the year Marlon Brando refused to accept his award because he was doing some Indian protest. I mean, they've always been a forum for actors to speak their mind politically, and all those Republican assholes to, make fun of the leftist commies. It wasn't very funny when they were doing the hearings of that criminal fascist Minnesota senator, why can't I remember his name, who accused everybody of being a communist, and they
McCarthy.
Huh?
Yeah, McCarthy.
McCarthy. Yeah, the McCarthy hearings, that was a travesty, so it wasn't very funny then, and careers and lives were destroyed and ruined. So, there's always been that element, but that night was just a party. And goddamn, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, I spent half the night in tissue, but he goes up, they both go up there and perform this together. And there wasn't a dry eye in the house. I mean, it was spectacular. I'm thinking about, okay, it's one thing to do it on a set when you can do retakes, and Lady Gaga does this, but Cooper went up there and fucking hit it out of the park. And you could tell they had real affinity and love for each other as friends, that they would have been attracted, but have you seen his woman, wife, girlfriend, Jesus, God. Anyway, but they had this chemistry together that came off on screen, and honest to God, that woman can't open her mouth without making me cry. She sings, as I told you, with her heart. And a lot of the stuff was predictable, but there were some surprises in there as far as Best Director and Best Picture and Best Actress went, at least for me. But it was a great night. It was a Hollywood achievement and success. I hope they go with that format from now on. I don't think they need an MC. There certainly have been only a couple over the years that have been very good. I mean, back in the day when Bob Hope did it. But I don't think they need it anymore. And it was a fun night, and it was a great event, and it was worthy of sitting there for 3 hours watching it.
I did like her.
But the one that affected me the most was Lady Gaga's. Because what we talk about every week, don't let anybody take your dream. And she's trying to tell it, this is who she was. She was on the outside watching the Oscars saying, I belong there. Every person in this business has been there, right? And it's, the lady said, kids, I hope you're watching, because I ain't never gonna get another one of these. You're never gonna see it again. But to think about, getting one of those awards, or getting even into the conversation, I mean, this isn't something I ever desired to do, but what a validation and what a great thing. What I'm trying to say is that all of the people that were there celebrating, and the people that were being looked at, and that most people want to see, had a dream. They were a little kid somewhere watching this thing, and they said, well, I belong, I want to be there. And then you start thinking about the movies themselves, and there's stories about people who wanted that. I mean, the whole journey of Bohemian Rhapsody is this kid remaking himself, this Pakistani immigrant, there's a lot of prejudice in England, and the brown people, and he fought all of that, and he named himself differently, and yet he followed his father's teachings too, the ones that were good. But we all had a dream, and sometimes it will always come to something. Whether it comes to your expectations or not has a lot to do with how hard you're willing to work and sacrifice, your native talent, the breaks you get. A lot of factors go into it. But I guarantee you that if you don't try, nothing will happen, right? We talked about over the last few months, do I get headshot? Do I do this agent, that agent, whatever? And your path is about keeping your eye and focused on your goal. And then all of a sudden, this one is ticked off, and that one is ticked off, and then you're somewhere, right? So I I just want, I guess the theme of what I'm trying to say is that, you know, look and see your fellow artists. Dreams are their currency that we all deal in. We all have them, and don't ever let anybody take them away.